My friend Megan looked at me through clenched teeth and said, "Shubarup, do not throw anything at us right now." This might seem like a strange thing for a player to tell her DM. However, that was a moment in my DM life when I started thinking and I learned something extremely important. I don't really know if this happens to anybody else, but I figure I can't be the only one. I'm not that special. Definitely not. Someone out there this must have happened to them, and I think they need to hear this. Hey everybody, welcome to the F-Birds Chronicles. This is not a story about my players playing through Lost Mine of Phandelver. I need a break from that. So I thought I will just record this video and tell you about a moment in my life when I learned something, a major mistake that I was committing as a DM, and how I went about fixing that. When I started DMing, I had this idea in my head that my adventures will be very pulpy, out of the frying pan into the fire. But I had no idea how to do that. I had an idea in my head, but my skill was nowhere near my taste. I thought what this means is that every moment in the campaign needs to be filled with DM content. That is wrong. That is absolutely 100% wrong. I wanted my players to get to the cool encounters, skip the blah blah, just get to the encounters that I had prepared. That's where the fun is. That's where the juice is. That's not true. The players sitting around and talking in character and about the campaign felt like slow pacing to me. I would love to tell you that I had a profound moment of realization and suddenly I was the master of pacing. Nothing could be further from the truth. That did not happen. It took that sentence from Megan, the one that I mentioned at the very beginning, for me to start thinking. That sentence was needed to get the gears churning. The players had just witnessed the brutal murder of a nobleman and his family, and they were in a delicate situation. The way it had happened, they realized that it was possible that they might get framed for a murder that they did not commit. They had come back to their inn where they were staying, and they were planning and discussing what to do next. About 5 minutes into this, I was thinking about, somebody knocking on the door, the next plot coupon that they need to collect and come back to me to get the adventure. I don't know how Megan read my mind, but she knew what I was going to do and told me not to. She was right. I was a fool. The players are discussing the game in character and planning. I should have just let them do that. I should have, in other words, sat back and relaxed. That is the juice for so many of us. And just to reiterate how much of an idiot I was, the planning sessions where we are just talking about what to do next happens in every game. Those are one of my favorite things as a player. And I forgot all of that when I was behind the screen. So the lesson here is not don't run pulp adventures, but it is be mindful of the situation. When I was watching Blood Diamond as a teenager, I realized something about pacing. There was a scene where Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Connelly were sitting around having a conversation in a mellow sort of story pacing. I forgot all about that when I was running the game. In that movie, that scene highlighted and enhanced the fast storytelling pace of the rest of the movie. Without that scene, and subsequent scenes similar, it would be it's like riding a catastrophe wave for 2 hours with no payoff. You need those moments of slowing down is what gave meaning to the fast-paced moments of the movie. In almost every good hard-boiled story, there are these moments. Without slowing down every once in a while, you are removing the emotion of flying by the seat of your pants. It's not going to be exciting and, oh my God, what are we going to do next? When you escape from the dragon in the ancient abandoned dwarven mine, only to find yourselves face to face with a T-Rex, and upon escaping the T-Rex, you can slow down. You have had your moment, you have had the tension escalate, and now it's time for the payoff. These nice campfire scenes are very important. That night, you don't need a tropical rainstorm to disrupt the long rest of the players. Let your players have the conversation that involves discussing the day and people going, oh man, what a day. It is important. Those moments give gravity and meaning to the other moments, the peaks. The peaks exist only because the valleys are there. DMs, remember that there are times when you just need to sit back and relax. The players are having fun playing around in your sandbox. Let them have fun. Thank you, Megan, for making me realize that. I later talked to my DM, Theron, about that situation, and he basically agreed with her. He is a player in my game, and he told me that he was feeling the same way, like there was no moment to breathe. There was no time to soak in everything that happened. So no matter how fun it was just not settling in. This is probably the most important DM lesson I have learned in my not long, not lengthy DMing career. Now, however, there is a flip side to this coin. Often, players start having an important discussion and trying to solve things and put the pieces of the puzzle together, only to end up going in circles and feeding each other the same information over and over again and making zero net progress. That happens. That is very common. It is not the player's fault. It is not their fault. This always happens. That is something we should be mindful of. We should be listening to our players when they're discussing and figuring out, is this the time to introduce something to break them out of that circle of thought? And if the answer is yes,
the solution, or rather one solution, or rather my solution, is to use a B plot.
Or
the orcs attack.